supporting, I think it's 42 different organisations throughout the UK, funding projects, piloting projects. I went and sat with the Prime Minister UK to start changing policies, because there's policy changes what is needed to get rid of some of those barriers which are enabling young people to progress and see that there is a space for them in these different realms. What else? Yeah, so that's like my passion project outside. I think just because I struggled at school, and I remember none of my teachers ever told me that if I pursued STEM, that I could have a job in this sport or become an engineer or get a good job. None of them gave me any information on what it could be, what it could take to get a good job. And it's really, really hard to believe it if you don't see it. So things like the F1 movie, I made sure to put a woman leading the engineering team, because now young girls can see when they're watching that movie, they're like, damn, I didn't even know that I could firstly be a mechanic or be an engineer. That's what I want to go and do. We need more women, young girls, to believe that's a future thing with that. So yeah, exactly. So that's fun.
Yeah, a brilliant project. You obviously had an amazing career. If you could pick one moment, it doesn't have to be in Formula One, any moment in your career that was a highlight or something you always look back on fondly, what would it be?
There's been so many. Meeting Nelson Mandela.
An amazing answer. What an amazing answer.
I think Nelson Mandela was unbelievable. It was like meeting a god.
It was amazing.
He had this beautiful silk shirt that he would always wear. And he was sitting, it looked like he was sitting in his throne. And I literally felt like I walked into the God's chambers. It was just in the Dorchester in London, hotel room. But I said, like, do you have any advice for me? Something you can pass down for me? It's like, I think it was his 90th or his 92nd birthday, and he was just saying, like, I'm still learning today. And I was like, geez, we've got a long way to go.
And actually leads perfectly on to my last question for you. If you could speak to your 8-year-old self when you started karting, what would be your sort of one line of advice that you'd give yourself?
Listen more to your dad.
I think everyone could use that one.
Yeah. And never stop believing in yourself, because I mean, it's brutal for the young kids at school. The kids are, quite feisty through your school life. There's a lot of bullying, and it's a very tough time for kids. But that never stops. At the height, through life, you're going to come across those sorts of things all the time, and it's just really, you've got to cultivate such a strong mental attitude, and you've got to be a fighter, and just, you really have to believe in yourself. So that's really what it's a long-winded thing I would say to my young self, but it'd be like, you got this, work hard, listen to your parents, and don't give up. Like, you got this. It's just, you've got to be, if anyone here's got kids, that's what you need to be telling the kids, you've got to be instilling that they're not controlling what they're going to do. My dad I wanted to do music, and he made me do history, which I hated. I just found it so boring, because sorry, I'm giving you long answers, but in England, when we're studying history, there was literally no one on the board when they were showing us these history stories. There was no one that looked like me, so I was like, I guess I wasn't part of history. Yeah, they didn't tell you anything. They didn't even know. They didn't talk about Africa. They didn't talk about all these different nationalities that are part of the war. And so I just didn't find it interesting, because I was like, no one that looks like me was a part of it. So I wanted to do music. But yeah, so anyway, my point was, like, I'm sure there's people here that you want the best for your kids. Yeah, just encouraging them.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Lewis. I think there's a massive room.
we need to analyze very properly what's going on now. The first lap, I thought I will destroy the car in the wall.
Don't know how, but it made the car worse.
But we just don't have any stability. So when I say that is the rear end is not planted, so it's sliding, snapping a lot. Then we have bouncing. So when you're going into corners like turn 10, the thing starts bouncing. We have a lot of mid-corner understeer, and then you apply the steering, and then it snaps, and you try and catch it. So it's different between low, medium, and high, and it's a fight like you couldn't believe.
Thank you.
That may have been the hardest race.
Puede que haya sido la carrera más dura de al menos esta temporada. Empezamos desde el pit lane porque realizamos cambios para ver si podíamos mejorar el coche, pero hicimos todo lo contrario, lo empeoramos. Supongo que lo positivo es que aprendimos algo e intentamos probar cosas nuevas para beneficiar a Charles en la siguiente sesión, pero era difícil de pilotar. Incluso Pierre me ha venido y me ha dicho, ¡guau, qué mala pinta tenía eso! Y he dicho, sí, lo sé. Lo único que puedo hacer es seguir intentándolo.
Let's unpack the lap and see where that might have got away from in a Ferrari that looks a little bit better balanced, but still doesn't appear to have the performance. First problem that jumps out, though, is down here towards turn 1. He's passing a line of traffic, and Hamilton is going to come across Pierre Gasly, who's parked down there relatively close to the entry point of turn 1. So as Hamilton rolls in, Gasly is out of the way, but he does never quite make that first apex. Terrible lap from Lewis, despite having Gasly down there on the apex of turn 1, compromising him. Not the performance in the car. He also ran relatively early in that last run of laps in comparison to some others, but just appears to be missing pure pace to make his way through to the next stage.
There in that session, what was going on inside the cockpit?
I was generally feeling better. We made changes. Car was feeling better. Just just wasn't quick.
I can only imagine the frustration. It's been a tough weekend, but there'll be millions of fans all over the world tuning in to watch you tomorrow, to cheer you on, to be in your corner. What's the message to them?
I don't really have a message right now. I'm sorry, but I'm incredibly grateful for the support that I've had all year. I mean, I wouldn't have made it through this year without them.
It was always going to be hard after the car you had earlier to turn it around completely. Did anything improve once you changed
the car felt a lot better. It just didn't reflect that in times.
Sorry, say the last bit again.
It just didn't reflect that in the times.
And is that your feeling in the car? Or is it we were listening to the throttle?
The car felt good. Honestly, the car felt a lot better than it was in the rest of the weekend. We were looking okay, and then we just didn't get the last lap.
Was that not enough fuel to double cool? Did you want to?
That I don't know.